When I was cast in the role of Thornton, my initial reaction was shock. It'd been a long casting process, and I realised it was the role of a lifetime. But then, of course, I was incredibly honoured to have been asked to play it. I'd fallen in love with the novel. And then other emotions kick in, like fear. It was a huge mountain to climb, so you kind of have, and there's a lot of expectation for that role as well. It's a big favourite of many people, so that was the next stage to get through before the read through. Research obviously started with the novel, and the novel was around all the time, and there's a great deal of rich kind of historical information in the novel, but I felt it was important to understand the industry that Thornton is in. So I researched the cotton industry, and I went to the various places in England where there's working museums, one of which turned out to be one of the locations, which was brilliant. I also read, there's quite a lot of, I think Engels has written a book which was based around the sort of working classes in the 1850s, which is incredibly sort of detailed about the poverty. So I looked at that for a start, and then read around the sort of the etiquette of the 1850s as well. Although the Thorntons don't necessarily abide by those rules, I felt it was important to know as much about the period as possible. But primarily, it's the novel that is the point of reference. I've read the book before I went in to be cast. I got through it as quickly as I could. I felt it was that I owed it to the role to know as much about it before I attempted to try and convince someone to cast me as Thornton. I thought it was important that I knew that character. But the novel was there all the time for me. Sandy's script obviously is the first thing and the last thing that you abide by, but the novel was around all the time, and it's a great point of reference all the time we're filming. The costumes are really, really important. Mike and his team did an amazing job, as did Alison, who worked with the hair and the kind of basic look of the characters. When you get into costume before the day starts, if they feel like costumes, then the creation of your character for that day is kind of marred in some way. So it was really important, the details, that my costumes were quite heavy fabrics, and they were kind of flawed. There was a big patch on the knee which was darned, and so that gives your character a sort of it gives your costume a biography, as it were. And the kind of stiff starched collars and cravat, it's a very useful tool which can then be deconstructed. I think there's a scene where the cravat came off as a necessary moment. And things like the pocket watch was quite an old, beautiful piece of jewellery, and I decided that it belonged to Thornton's father, so that he was kind of wearing something of his father all the time. So in that respect, your costume becomes clothing rather than costume. So yeah, it's really, really important. I do think that this marks a different sort of costume drama. I think that the style of shooting and the style of playing is very contemporary. Even though every department was honouring the accuracy and tradition of the 1850s, it wasn't the aim to make it a documentary or a museum type piece. So although everyone was attempting to be as accurate as possible, I think that if you look at the way that people look and the way that the camera works, it works like almost like another character. So you get very close to the action, and there's a sort of motion with the photography which we're very used to when we watch contemporary drama, and traditionally I think with period drama it tends to be more static. So in that respect, I think yes. And also the playing, the style of playing, the acting was, the leaning was towards making it as contemporary as possible, so that it resonated with a contemporary audience rather than alienating. So I think being compared to Darcy is a huge compliment. That was a defining role for Colin Firth, and it's memorable, and it's survived for many years, and it's memorable to me. So to be compared to him is a huge compliment. I don't think there are too many similarities. I think that the temperament of this character is similar, and the nature of their relationship, Margaret and John. But yeah, I'm quite happy to be compared to Darcy.